All right, here we are with another Transformers reveal. And to be honest, I went a bit berserk with my online shopping lately because I was saving up to buy something and it looks like that something's never going to become available. So I was saving up birthday money, Christmas money, Kijiji sales, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go on and buy a bunch of characters I want. And so I've got a whole bunch of them coming in. So over the next number of weekends, probably I will be having more and more videos for Transformers reveals, many more than I thought I would, at least quicker than I thought I would. And I mentioned a while back too that I had a special one that I was working on. And it looks like I'm only gonna be able to do it kind of in part, I guess. But I'm ready to do it today. And it focuses on something that happened in season 2 when, if you remember, I've done Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp over the course of these videos, and they were the first generation of Decepticon Seekers. Now, in season 2, a second generation of Decepticon Seekers came into the fold, and they were dubbed the Coneheads. And these Coneheads feature Thrust, Ramjet, and Dirge. Unfortunately, I don't have Dirge yet. As you can see, this is a different brand of toy from the Masterpiece line that I normally get, and then there's a couple of other ones like the X-Trans bots and whatnot, Zeta. This one is called Cubian Bow or something like that, KBB for short. So I found the Masterpiece version of these characters were like between $200 and $300 a piece. Whereas these guys were much more affordable, and when you look at the mold, if you remember the original Seekers, Starscream and Thundercracker and Skywarp, it's the exact same thing. Like, they took the exact same mold and just did it for these new characters. I don't know if they're not as quality in terms of the materials and the construction and whatnot, but to me they look almost identical. So it turns out I made a really good decision in downgrading to this brand over Masterpiece because it saved me a shitload of money. I probably never would have been able to get these guys if I wanted to get the Masterpiece versions. But like I said, Dirge, I had no problem finding Thrust, and he was the cheapest of the three. Ramjet, I had to search a little harder. He was a bit more than Thrust, but Dirge, nobody seems to have him in stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on these two guys for this video. I'm going to throw Dirge in there into the mix as well. But once I finally am able to get Dirge, I'm just going to do a short video just showing his character, his transformation and stuff. So for this one, it'll be all three of them featured, but only these two in terms of the toys. Now, these three characters, like I said, they were the second generation of Decepticon Seekers. And they each had their own kind of, you can see Thrust here. He had these weird kind of thrusters, I guess, built into his wings. Ramjet, he's kind of white in the middle, red on the wings. His wings are a little different shape and stuff like that. So they all had their own distinct kind of look and shape to the plane, which made them a little more different and identifiable than the original Decepticon Seekers. Thrust, his deal was that he was just kind of a loudmouth, obnoxious kind of guy, and he liked to make as much noise as possible in order to terrorize whoever his adversaries were at the time. So he's probably the biggest braggart and loudmouth of the three. Ramjet was kind of more of a simpleton, and his solution to everything was just to run into it, hence his name Ramjet. Which is an odd thing for a plane because planes are usually a little more fragile than, say, cars and trucks. But Ramjet was built a little differently. He was a little more durable than the other jets, and that was his deal, was running into things. Dirge, he was kind of like Thrust in a way in that he used the sound of his engines to his advantage, but he wasn't loud necessarily. His engines were tuned to a certain frequency that would instill fear in his enemies. And he was a little more sullen and withdrawn than the other two guys, and that masked a fear of or an uncomfortability. Uncomfortability, is that even a fucking word? He wasn't necessarily relishing his role as a Decepticon and always being at war and stuff like that. So that was kind of his cover for his true feelings. Now, here is a little clip from an episode that features all three of these guys in action. It's not that long of a clip and doesn't go too in depth into their character, but I wanted to get all three of them in one kind of shot because I'm running out of space on my phone, and I got to keep these videos to a minimum in terms of their length if I want to actually get them posted. So here's the three of them in action under the leadership of Starscream.
Rest assured, Mayor, my contributions have just begun.
And now I declare this facility
Decepticons. Good. They took the bait.
tank crews, prepare for combat.
Let's teach them the meaning of fear.
Ignore the humans! Fill the energon cubes!
There's no energy here.
It's a trap!
Burger's taken the law into his own hands again. Get me the Autobots. Hit the deck. They're gonna... Thank goodness, the Autobots.
How dare they interfere?
Autobots, transform. Hold the last order, Prime. I want to throw some dark on the subject. I can't see. Panic will defeat you, Dirge. Blast Starscream before he can take off.
Thrust! Help me!
Taste death, Autobots! Scrambled my guidance system!
Decepticons, retreat!
So there you get kind of a sense of what they look like in terms of their different looks as individual planes, and you can see them in robot mode. And why the one big difference between the original Seekers and these guys was that when they transformed, the original guys, the front cone of the plane went in behind them, whereas with these guys, why they call them the cone heads is that it sticks straight up and it's part of their whole head face part of their robot mode. So in terms of their G1 toys, they were the identical mold to the original Seekers. The only difference was, of course, the coloring and, of course, the different shaped wings and the fact that they transformed with the cones on top of their head. So here's a look at all three of them. So as you can see, if you remember when I did the other three guys, they are pretty much identical, like I said, other than the slight differences in colors and wing shape and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed the original Seeker molds in the G1 toy. Of course, they're nowhere near as complicated as these, and they don't look nearly as realistic, but I have Starscream still. I have all my Transformers, they're really beat up, but Starscream's probably one of the ones that are in better shape, and I think it's because his mold was really solid and held up well compared to some of the other ones, and he's one of my favorite characters from that original G1 toy line. But anyways, on to the present. Let's get this guy out of the box, and I'll show you what came with this guy, and we'll get them transformed and unboxed, and yeah, and we'll just get these two guys added to the shelf and into the collection, and hopefully one day, fingers crossed, I can find myself a Dirge. So here we are with these two guys. Thrust, when you buy stuff on AliExpress, you a lot of times have the option to buy the character in their original packaging, or without the original packaging, and it just comes in a box all packed tighter and smaller so that they can ship it for cheaper and you get a bit of a discount. So I thought, you know what, I don't really care about the original packaging. It's fun to unbox them out of their boxes, but if I can save $5-10 whatever, by just getting the character, they're still brand new, they're just not in their original box, then I'm gonna go for it, right? So that's what I did with Thrust, and that's what I thought I did with Ramjet, but he actually came in his box. So there you have it. So Thrust, here he is. Like I said, the exact same thing. The wheel comes down the exact same, like everything is identical to the Masterpiece version of the other three Seekers. He comes with a stand, which you can throw, you know, this into however which way you want it, and have him on there in his plane mode. The accessories he comes with include a number of blasters, 2 different styles, which I believe you can just hook on in under here. Comes with a couple of the pilots that you can put in the cockpit here. See, everything's like pretty much identical to the Masterpiece versions. He comes with these two. I think you can just, oh, maybe they go right here. Okay, yep. They go here. And then these, I'm not sure what these are for. I'm sure I'll find out in the instructions if they are necessary for something. But then he comes with 2 heads. So one with the white and one with the silver. I think the white looks a little better, so I'll probably use that one. But yeah, it comes with a couple options for heads, and right now his head goes down in there, so it's not even in there right now, so they give you 2 options that you can put in there. So that is Thrust in a nutshell. Of course, the instructions. I should know how to transform these guys by now. I did 3 of them before. It's been a while, but now let's get Mr. Ramjet opened up. Yeah, so I wanted to save this one until I had all 3 characters, but like I said, I've been watching for Dirge for months now, and because I've had Thrust for quite a while. Ramjet just arrived last night, and I've just been looking and waiting for Dirge to come available, but nobody seems to have him, so hopefully one day though. Instructions, same thing as with Thrust. Now that I see these guys from this company, I would probably have no problems ordering other characters from this brand if the need arose, right? If I couldn't find the Masterpiece. Ah, okay, that's where they go. That's right, now I remember that. So those little things are for there. You can put those, tuck those little guys down in there. That's right. Oh, because that's what goes on their arms after. Yep, okay. Then you can put these babies in. Maybe they go here. Oh, shit. Right. Had them for 2 seconds, I almost broke them already. you got all these accessories you can outfit them with to make them as terrifying as possible. So he's already got a head tucked in there, probably the white one because there's the silver one. Of course, he too has a couple pilots. And then he also comes with a stand, which I think is identical. They probably just reuse the same thing for each character. Yeah, and that's it. So there's Ramjet. And then all you do is open that up. Oh, that wing's going to be a problem, but hopefully it won't matter. And what I did to get this guy open last time was just use one of these and hopefully not break it. It's always my worry, breaking things. So far I've only broken one character, Wind Charger, last week, or the week before, whatever that was. And he fixed up pretty well, so that was alright. Here's the pilot. Boom. Yeah, baby. So there you have Ramjet and Thrust and all of their gear. Let's get them into robot mode and we will get them added to the shelf. Shibby. So I hope you enjoyed this double feature. Thrust, Ramjet, they both look fantastic. Transformations were identical to the Masterpiece Seekers that I did a while back. Maybe these aren't quite as high a quality in terms of the materials used and the way they were fastened together and stuff. Like for example, when that wing on Ramjet kept falling off, like it was just, it wasn't a metal bolt or whatever that attached it in there. It was just the plastic little bubbles on the edge that went into the slot, you know, like it just held it. So if you keep falling out, put it back in, it's gonna wear out eventually, right? So maybe the construction wasn't quite as good as Masterpiece in the materials used, but they're pretty close. They're close enough that I'm fine saving hundreds of dollars to have these instead of the Masterpiece brand. So, you know, but as you can see, the way they transform and the way they look in both modes is just so close to the original cartoon. Like these will fit seamlessly into my shelf with all my Masterpiece and my other brands that I've got down there. So I'm super happy about these two. The only thing I'm unhappy about is the fact that I can't friggin' find Dirge. It's been vexing me for months and months now. And I know that one day probably, hopefully I will get him, but I was really hoping to do all three at once. But for now you'll have to settle for the two. And I hope to be back one day in the future with just a quick little feature on Dirge. But like I said, I have so many rolling in the near future, hopefully, that I should have hopefully one a weekend for the foreseeable future, depending on, you know, the shipping times when they show up. I may have to miss a week or two here and there, but either way, you're gonna be force-fed a steady diet of Transformers unboxing. So I hope you enjoy like I do.